Hello everyone, this is Dodo here and welcome back to another video. In this video I'll be taking you through a $400 entry-level budget gaming PC build guide. In my opinion, $400 is about the least you should spend if you want to make a gaming PC. Anything below $400 and you'll be better off getting a PS4 or an Xbox One, which will get you a much better gaming experience than playing games on a potato PC with an AMD APU. This PC will, however, get you much better performance than a console, and it'll be able to drive games in 1080p resolution while achieving very playable frame rates. So without further ado, let's begin. For the CPU, I chose the Intel Pentium G3258. This CPU is a very popular choice among budget gamers, and in my eye, this is the best CPU you can purchase brand new in this price range. It has a pretty decent clock speed of 3.2 GHz, and the great thing is that you can overclock it quite a bit using the stock CPU cooler. The only downside to this CPU is that it has only 2 cores, so it won't be able to play some games that require 4 cores such as Far Cry 4. There are alternatives to this CPU, such as the X4860K from AMD, which features 4 core instead of 2. However, the Pentium G3258 outperforms the X4860K in pretty much all the games that support 2 core CPUs. The G3258 is also fairly future-proof since it uses the same socket as some i3s, i5s, and even i7s, so it is very easy to upgrade the CPU in the future to something like an i5 4460, which I would highly recommend. Overall, this Pentium G3258 isn't the most powerful CPU in the world, and it definitely won't be great for things like video editing, but for a $400 gaming PC, this CPU is the perfect one. As for the graphics card, arguably the most important component in a gaming PC, I chose the EVGA GTX 950. This is a budget gaming card that does surprisingly well in 1080p gaming. You might not be able to max out all the graphic settings in the games, but with some tweaking you should be able to achieve very playable frame rates in all the latest games. This card also comes with a decent 2GB of frame buffer, which is nice to see on a budget card like this. For the motherboard, I picked the Asus Micro ATX H81NK. It's really not packing anything special, and it's a very basic motherboard. However, what matters is that it has all the basic features you will need. And Asus is a very reliable brand when it comes to motherboards. This motherboard won't bottleneck any of the components that we're using in this PC, and can even support i3s, i5s, and i7s, which is very nice. I'd admit it's not the most attractive motherboard on the planet, but the case we'll be using doesn't have a side panel, so it's not a big problem. For the RAM, I went with one 8GB DIMM of 1600MHz DDR3 memory from Corsair. Now, I'm aware that the Pentium G3258 can't run 1600MHz RAM, but the thing is, it can use 1600MHz memory, and it will still work fine. What it's doing is it's gonna underclock the 1600MHz to a 1333MHz. Now you might be thinking, well, why am I going with 1600MHz in the first place? And that is because, well, if you want to upgrade to something like an i5 in the future, it's a really good idea to have a 1600MHz RAM. Now, I'd just like to say that the RAM doesn't have to be from Corsair, you can get the one you like, but I'd recommend that you get one 8GB stick instead of 2 4GB sticks, since you might want to upgrade to 16 in the future. For the storage, I cheaped out on a 1TB hard drive from Sega. I really would like to include SSDs in budget builds like this one, but SSDs are still quite expensive. Although it may not be the fastest at 7200 RPM, the 1TB hard drive should be good enough for storing all your data, but I would highly recommend purchasing an SSD when the budget allows. You'll see a huge boost in loading times of games and software. For the case, I went with a Micro ATX case from Rosewell, the SRM01. I picked this case mainly for the budget-friendly price tag, but I have to say I'm quite impressed with this case. Both the interior and the exterior have very basic designs, but in my opinion it's one of the best looking cases around this price point. I'm also blown away by the fact that this case has 3 USB ports, one of them being a USB 3.1 port. Overall, it's just a great case for $30 and you really can't complain. Lastly, for the power supply, I chose a 430W 80 plus certified power supply from EVGA. This is a basic yet reliable power supply and even comes with a 3-year warranty. Even in budget builds, I like to avoid case and power supply combos because the last thing you want is a power supply blowing up in your PC. Alright, well that about wraps up this video. Feel free to leave any questions down in the comments, but that's been it. Thanks for watching. This has been Dodo and I'm out. See you later.